All right, so today, let's dive into something pretty interesting. The world of seduction.
Ooh, exciting.
You know, you sent us all these excerpts from Robert Greene's The Art of Seduction.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sensing that you're interested in this whole game of attraction and
Yeah.
influence.
Well, Green's take is really interesting.
Okay.
He looked at seduction less as just like a feeling
Right.
and more like an actual strategy.
Wow.
He pulls examples from all over.
Yeah.
Like historical figures like Cleopatra, Casanova,
Mm-hmm.
even mythology, even modern pop culture,
Yeah.
like Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
So it's almost like he's saying
Yeah.
seduction's a skill. It's like
Okay.
if you could actually learn and get better at.
It's wild to think about these,
Yeah.
I mean, Cleopatra, Casanova, Marilyn Monroe, they all had some kind of system for this.
Right.
It's really making me rethink how I see the world.
That's the thing about Green's work.
Yeah.
He's saying, hey, seduction is not just about romance.
Right.
It's also a dynamic that pops up
Oh, yeah.
in politics and business. Even
that's interesting.
you see it in marketing,
Right.
even our day-to-day interactions.
Yeah, that's true.
So if we can understand these principles,
Yeah.
it gives us a better grasp of like human nature
Okay.
and what actually makes people pick.
All right, so let's unpack some of these principles, right?
Okay.
One thing that really jumped out at me was the whole illusion thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying it's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's about crafting an irresistible fantasy
Okay.
that the other person actually wants to buy into.
Right. Right.
He uses Cleopatra as an example,
Mhm.
talks about how she created this captivating,
Yeah.
exotic world
Yeah.
for these Roman guys she was trying to.
Totally.
Weird.
I mean, Cleopatra's strategy was so smart.
Yeah.
She knew that seduction was more than just like
Yeah.
physical attraction. It's
Yeah.
about creating a whole experience,
Right.
like this whole world
Okay.
that pulls people in
Yeah.
and makes them feel like they're part of something
It feels special, yeah.
special. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be more drawn to someone
Yeah.
who offers you like a whole exciting experience
Right.
than someone who's just relying on their looks?
Oh, yeah, totally. Totally.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between reading a textbook
Right.
and getting swept away by a novel.
Exactly.
And, it reminds me of Marilyn Monroe, too, right?
Oh, for sure.
It wasn't just that she was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was this whole persona,
Yeah.
the voice,
Mhm.
the walk, that,
Yeah.
air of vulnerability.
Yeah.
It was all so carefully crafted.
Totally. Yeah. And that actually leads us to another
Yeah.
key principle here.
Okay.
Strategic weakness.
Strategic weakness. Okay.
Green actually says
Yeah.
that seeming vulnerable,
Mhm.
even a little enthralled,
Yeah.
makes you seem less calculating.
Right.
And more like you're being genuine.
Like you're not trying too hard.
Exactly. He talks about this story of Sergei Saltykov
Mm-hmm.
winning over Catherine the Great
Wow.
by playing the role of like her rescuer.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
a really clever tactic.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of disarmed her,
Yeah.
made her feel more powerful.
So it's about trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lowering someone's defenses. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, you're not a threat.
Right.
So I can relax.
Exactly. When you appear vulnerable,
Yeah.
you subtly shift that power dynamic,
Right.
and they feel like they're the ones in charge.
Oh, interesting.
Casanova was amazing at this.
Really?
He'd use this indirect language
Okay.
to make women think they were the ones pursuing him.
Oh, wow.
So he could kind of guide their actions
Okay.
while appearing totally under their spell,
That's amazing.
like playing with their minds a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
So is that where the 18 seducer archetypes come in?
Yeah, is that what that's all about?
It seems like each type has their own
Yeah.
way of like creating that illusion
Yeah.
and playing on people's desires. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Green lays out these 18
Yeah.
distinct seducer archetypes,
Okay.
and each one embodies
Yeah.
a unique set of traits
Right.
that they use to like
Okay.
attract and influence others.
So like what?
For example,
Yeah.
you have the siren,
Okay.
like Marilyn Monroe,
Mhm.
who uses tons of sexual energy to captivate.
Right.
Then you've got the rake,
Okay.
think Casanova.
Yeah.
Their desire for the opposite sex is just infectious,
Right.
makes them irresistible.
So he's basically categorized all the different flavors of attraction.
Pretty much.
Okay, so there's siren, rake.
Yeah.
What are some of the other types?
Well, you've got the ideal lover,
Okay.
like Rudolph Valentino,
Mm-hmm.
creates this whole romantic fantasy world, fulfills that longing for perfect love.
Okay.
Then you've got the dandy,
The dandy. Okay.
like Beau Brummel
Yeah.
and Andy Warhol.
Okay.
They cultivate this ambiguous androgynous allure,
Interesting.
playing with gender roles
Right.
to create that mystery and intrigue.
Okay.
And don't forget the naturals,
So naturals. Okay.
like Charlie Chaplin,
Okay.
disarming with that childlike spontaneity,
Yeah.
appealing to our desire for like
Right.
authenticity and playfulness.
Okay, so this is starting to feel like a personality test.
Right.
So are you saying that, like, the key is to figure out
Well,
which archetype you are?
not exactly.
Okay.
It's good to understand them.
Right.
But Green says
Yeah.
the best seducers don't just stick to one.
Okay.
They draw from different types,
Interesting.
adapting based on the situation and
Right.
the person they're trying to seduce.
So it's more about understanding the principles
Yeah.
than just copying a persona, right?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like learning the rules of a game.
Once you get them,
Yeah.
you can start to bend them,
Mm-hmm.
break them,
Right.
even make up your own style.
Okay, that makes sense. But let's go back to this idea of indirect tactics.
Okay.
Like, what are some examples of how these subtle techniques can be used to kind of stir up
Yeah.
emotions and desires
Yeah.
without being like,
Forceful.
bushy or forceful?
Yeah.
You mentioned Casanova using indirect language.
Right.
What else does he talk about?
Well, he describes this concept
Yeah.
called narcissistic mirroring.
Okay, narcissistic mirroring.
So it's like this.
Yeah.
If you conform to your targets'
Mhm.
moods and tastes,
Right.
you lower their defenses,
Okay.
make them feel validated.
Right, yeah.
It's like you're holding up a mirror to their ego,
Yeah.
making them feel seen, understood,
Right, okay.
admired.
So you're playing to their vanity.
Yeah.
A little bit.
He actually gives this crazy story.
About two nuns seducing a gardener.
Wait, hold on. Nuns seducing a gardener?
Yeah, by just acting
I
on...
gotta hear this.
Yeah.
How does that even work?
So the nuns,
Yeah.
instead of like trying to figure out what
Yeah.
the gardener actually wants,
Right.
they just project their own fantasies onto him.
Wow.
And by confirming his narcissistic self-image,
Okay.
they tap into like fundamental human need
Right.
to be seen and appreciated
Yeah.
for who we think we are.
Even if it's not real.
Exactly, even if it's a total fabrication.
That's so wild.
It really makes you think
See-
like how easily we can be manipulated,
Yeah, that's a little terrifying.
even by nuns.
Right. So mirroring feeds their ego.
Yeah.
What other tactics can be used to kind of play on?
Well, Green talks about
Yeah.
the power of creating a triangle.
Okay.
So you introduce a rival,
Right.
or you hint at past conquests
Okay.
to spark that jealousy
Right.
and make them want you more.
Uh,
He uses Lord Byron as an example.
Mm-hmm.
You know how Byron had that
Yeah.
rumored incestuous relationship
Mhm.
with his half-sister?
It was just a rumor, right?
Yeah, whether it was true or not.
Yeah.
It made him way more alluring to women
Interesting.
because it created that sense of competition.
Oh, okay.
It made him seem like a prize worth fighting for.
So it's like that fear of missing out, right?
Exactly.
If someone else wants him, he must be valuable.
It taps into those primal instincts,
Okay.
our desire to have what others want.
I see.
And you see this tactic everywhere,
Right.
not just in relationships,
Oh, yeah.
but like marketing and advertising.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about those limited edition products
Yeah.
or exclusive offers.
Mm-hmm.
They create that scarcity,
Right.
that
I
urgency.
think you want to buy it now.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. So we've got illusion, vulnerability, archetypes,
Yep.
indirect tactics, creating triangles. It's all very strategic, yeah, and a little bit manipulative.
A little bit.
What other tricks?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Green explores tactics
Yeah.
that go beyond simple manipulation.
Okay.
He starts talking about transgression and taboo.
Transgression and taboo.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening.
Like, how do those play into seduction?
That sounds a little dangerous.
Well, he argues that pushing boundaries
Okay.
and hinting at a dark side
Yeah.
can be incredibly seductive.
Okay.
It taps into our fascination with the
Yeah.
forbidden, the things
Yeah.
we're told we shouldn't want.
Yeah.
He uses Lord Byron again.
Oh, okay.
How Byron's reputation for darkness and rebellion
Yeah.
made him so irresistible to women.
Okay, so it's like that bad boy appeal, right?
Exactly.
There's something alluring about someone
Yeah.
who doesn't play by the rules.
Yeah, it's rebellious.
Yeah, it's a little bit dangerous.
Stirs up a lot of emotions.
Okay.
And Green suggests it's not just about
Yeah.
breaking society's rules.
Yeah.
It's also about pushing personal boundaries.
Okay, so how does that work?
You subtly suggest
Yeah.
that you're willing to transgress for them.
Okay.
And it creates that intimacy,
Right.
that exclusivity.
Okay.
Like you're sharing a secret, a
Right.
hidden part of yourself.
Like you're giving them a glimpse
Yeah,
into your shadow self.
exactly.
The part you keep hidden, that's powerful.
It can be.
Yeah.
But Green also says be careful.
Right.
Don't go too far.
Okay.
The key is to just hint at it.
Right.
Create that mystery and intrigue
Okay.
without actually crossing any lines.
That would make them uncomfortable.
Yeah, or compromise your own integrity.
Right. Right.
It's a delicate balance for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got playing with fire,
Yeah.
testing boundaries.
What other?
What other unexpected elements
Yeah.
does Green bring into this
Yeah.
art of seduction?
Okay.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
He argues that appealing to higher ideals,
Oh.
even spirituality,
Okay.
can be a powerful form of seduction.
Wait a minute.
He calls this
Yeah,
spiritual lures
Yeah.
and suggests it's a way to disguise
Okay.
more basic desires
Okay.
and make the physical seem transcendent.
So, like, how
Yeah.
does that even work?
He uses the example of Natalie Barney,
Okay.
writer and salon hostess,
Right.
known for these intellectual,
Yeah.
spiritual gatherings,
Okay.
which she used to create
Yeah.
deep and lasting seduction.
I try to wrap my head around this
Yeah.
spirituality and seduction seem
know.
totally opposite.
It's about tapping in
Okay.
their higher aspirations,
Yeah.
their longing for meaning and purpose.
Right.
So you frame this seduction
Yeah.
as a journey of spiritual discovery
Okay.
or like a meeting of souls.
Interesting.
So you elevate it
Right.
beyond the physical.
Okay.
It becomes this shared experience,
Right.
a quest for something deeper.
Like, think of it this way.
Yeah.
You can offer someone candy
Yeah.
or invite them to share a gourmet meal.
Which one's going to be more memorable?
Right.
Create a stronger bond.
Okay. Yeah. I see your point.
You're adding layers of complexity.
It's not just about
Yeah.
fleeting pleasure.
Right.
It's about connecting
Uh-huh.
on a much deeper level.
Right. It's a sophisticated approach
Totally.
and one that can be really effective.
Yeah.
Green argues that spiritual lures work
Okay.
because they appeal to our need for transcendence,
Right.
something beyond the ordinary.
Okay.
So you tap into that
Yeah.
and you create this sense of connection
Yeah.
and purpose.
It's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
It's much more nuanced than I ever imagined.
That's exactly what Green wants us to see.
Yeah.
Seduction's this complex interplay of
That's-
psychology, strategy, artistry,
It's a whole art form.
and it's not just about manipulating people.
Right.
It's about understanding their desires, their vulnerabilities, their
Mhm.
longing for something more.
Okay, so we've got illusion, vulnerability, archetypes, indirect tactics, transgression, even spirituality.
Yeah,
It's a lot to process.
it is.
Is there anything else we should know about?
Well, he discusses a tactic that might seem counterintuitive,
Okay.
mixing pleasure with pain.
Oh, interesting.
So he argues that introducing moments of pain,
Okay.
like guilt, insecurity,
Okay.
even temporary breakups,
Wow.
can actually make the desire for reconciliation
Mm.
even stronger
Really?
and make the return to pleasure more potent.
Okay.
He calls it giving the seduced a taste of hell.
That's intense. So are we talking like full-on ghosting someone?
It can vary,
Okay.
but the main idea is contrast.
Okay.
So by bringing in some uncertainty,
Yeah.
those emotional ups and downs, you
Mhm.
keep them off balance and
Mhm.
emotionally invested.
Okay.
They feel the pleasure of your company.
Yeah.
And then the pain of your absence.
Right.
So the moments of connection
Okay.
become even more intense.
So you're basically creating an emotional addiction
Exactly.
where they crave your presence, even if it means going through some pain.
And Green points to figures like Baudelaire,
Right.
who would alternate between
Yeah.
harshness and kindness
Yeah.
with his lover, Madame Sabatier.
Okay.
That push and pull
Yeah.
kept her captivated,
Wow.
longing for his approval.
It sounds effective, but risky too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
If you overdo it,
Yeah.
you could really damage things.
It takes careful calibration.
Right.
You have to understand their psychology.
Yeah.
And Green emphasizes
Yeah.
it's not about being cruel
Right.
or intentionally hurting them.
Okay.
It's about strategically using these moments of tension
Yeah.
to make the bond stronger
Right.
and more meaningful.
It's like adding spice to a dish, right?
Exactly.
Just enough to make it interesting
You don't want to overdo it.
without overpowering it.
Right.
So we've got this whole web of tactics. How does anyone master this?
Well, He doesn't give a step-by-step,
Okay.
but he does offer a framework
Okay.
with different phases and strategies.
Okay.
One key principle is isolation.
Isolation. Okay.
Yeah.
How does that fit in?
He argues that by subtly isolating
Yeah.
your target
Mm-hmm.
from their support system,
Okay.
like friends, family,
Yeah.
their usual environment,
Yeah.
you make them more vulnerable.
Interesting.
Think about Catherine the Great,
Yeah.
isolated from her court
Mm-hmm.
before Saltykov seduced her,
Right. Right.
or Cleopatra,
Yeah.
creating that immersive, exotic world,
Yeah.
drawing her Roman lovers away.
Away from their familiar surroundings.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's like creating a bubble
Yeah,
where you have their full attention.
Yeah.
You can kind of shape their reality.
precisely. And he says it can be, both physical and psychological.
So it's not just about physically separating them.
It's about shifting their focus
Okay.
away from their usual worries
Right.
and onto you
Okay.
and the world you're creating together.
So you're their main source of connection,
Mm-hmm.
validation, stimulation.
You become their everything.
And once you've done that,
Right.
you can move on to more advanced tactics.
Yeah.
What does he call that?
He calls it the precipice.
The precipice.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds dramatic.
It is.
What's that about?
This is where you deepen the seduction
Okay.
with more extreme measures.
Like what?
This is where tactics like transgression,
Right.
aggression,
Yeah.
mixing pleasure with pain really come in.
So you're pushing the boundaries further,
Yeah.
testing the limits,
Mm-hmm.
creating a heightened sense of
Intensity.
and drama.
So it's like you've laid the groundwork
Yeah.
and now you're taking things to the next level.
Exactly. But how do you know when it's the right time?
He stresses timing,
Okay.
reading their signals.
So sensing their comfort level,
Yeah.
their willingness to kind of explore
Exactly.
fertile territory,
You don't want to move too fast,
right?
scare them off,
Okay.
but you also don't want to move too slow,
Right.
lose their interest.
Lose their interest.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's this delicate dance
It is.
of pushing and pulling.
Testing the waters.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like a high stakes game.
Especially when you're dealing with
Yeah.
powerful emotions and desires.
Okay, so just to be clear,
Yeah.
Green's not giving us a set of rules.
No, not at all.
Right.
He's trying to show us
Yeah.
the underlying dynamics of seduction
Okay.
so we can navigate these complexities
Yeah.
with more awareness and skill.
Okay, so we've
Yeah.
got isolation
Yeah.
and the precipice.
Hmm.
What are some examples of how these...
More extreme tactics
Yeah.
can be used effectively. Well, he talks about stirring up,
Okay.
the transgressive and taboo.
Right.
Remember our discussion about Lord Byron
Yeah.
and his reputation?
That darkness and defiance
Yeah.
made him so irresistible.
Exactly. So it's like
Yeah.
the allure of the forbidden fruit.
Right. The more it's off limits,
Yeah.
the more we crave it.
So how do you tap into that
Yeah.
without actually crossing any lines?
Right.
Or harming anyone?
Mm-hmm.
It's about suggestion,
Okay.
implication,
Okay.
not actually engaging
Okay.
in harmful behavior.
Right.
You create a sense of risk,
Okay.
of stepping outside
Yeah.
conventional morality,
Oh, okay.
but you're not actually putting anyone in danger.
So it's like watching a thriller movie, right?
Exactly.
You get the excitement of
Yeah.
the danger,
Yeah.
but you know it's not real.
You're safe.
Okay, so you're creating a shared fantasy
Yeah.
of transgression,
Right.
a way to kind of explore
Hmm.
those darker impulses. Exactly. In a safe way.
And it's that shared exploration,
Yeah.
that pushing boundaries together
Right.
that creates a powerful bond.
Okay, so transgression is one tactic.
Mm-hmm.
What about regression?
Ah, yes.
We talked about that before.
Yeah.
In terms of tapping into
Right.
childhood memories and
Yeah.
desires.
Mhm.
But how does that work?
So Green says regression can create this really profound emotional bond,
Okay.
especially when you combine it with
Yeah.
isolation and transgression.
Right.
You subtly position yourself
Okay.
as a source of comfort,
Right.
security.
Like a parental figure.
Yeah, like a parental figure.
Okay.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
you're pushing boundaries,
Right.
bringing in that erotic tension.
So it's this mix of nurturing
Yeah.
naughtiness.
Exactly. And it can be incredibly potent,
Wow.
especially when it's tailored
Yeah.
to their specific needs
Right.
and vulnerability.
So you're saying like you got to gather information.
You need to understand their childhood, their
Right.
attachments, their
Mhm.
anxieties,
Okay.
and use that knowledge
Right.
to subtly evoke those deep-seated emotional patterns.
So you're like a psychological detective,
You kind of are.
uncovering clues to their past
Mhm.
and using that.
And Green suggests
Yeah.
that this whole process of regression
Hmm.
can be really satisfying
Okay.
for both people.
Okay.
The seducer gets to be the powerful one,
Yeah.
the protector,
Mm-hmm.
and the seduced gets to experience that
Yeah.
childlike wonder,
Okay.
dependence, host speaker,
Mm-hmm.
unconditional love.
It makes sense, but it also seems like it could be
Yeah,
misused pretty easily.
of course.
Right.
Yeah,
What's to stop someone from, like,
right.
taking advantage of someone?
Exploiting those vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
You know,
For their own gain.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And it goes back to those ethical considerations.
Right.
Talked about. Green's work isn't like a moral guidebook.
Right.
It's more of a
Yeah.
study of human behavior.
Right.
It's up to us
Yeah.
to use this knowledge responsibly.
Ethically.
Yeah, ethically.
Yeah.
To think about the other person's well-being.
Right.
And to act with integrity.
Yeah. That's a really important point.
It is.
It's like you're being given this powerful tool.
Right.
You got to use it wisely.
You have to.
With good intentions.
With good intentions, yeah.
So we've got isolation, transgression, regression in this precipice phase.
Yeah.
What about mixing pleasure with pain?
Oh, yes.
How does that?
So Green argues
Yeah.
that in this heightened phase,
Okay.
strategically introducing those moments of
Yeah.
pain,
Right.
guilt,
Insecurity and even
temporary breakups can actually intensify
yeah.
the desire for reconciliation,
Okay.
make the return to pleasure even more potent.
It's like you're saying, it's like giving them a taste of hell
Yeah,
so they
man.
appreciate heaven.
All more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you do that?
It's about finding that balance,
Okay.
understanding their emotional thresholds,
Yeah.
creating a sense of safety and trust.
Even when you're putting them
Yeah.
through.
Emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
You're not trying to break them down
Right.
or cause unnecessary pain.
Right.
You're trying to heighten
Yeah.
those emotional stakes.
Create a deeper sense of longing and appreciation.
Exactly.
It's like adding contrast to a painting.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
To make the light stand out more.
You add some shadow.
Just add some shadows,
pretty.
depth.
Yeah.
It's risky,
Yeah.
but I can see how it could work.
And Green says it's
Yeah.
especially effective
Yeah.
in these final stages
But-
because by then
Yeah.
they're already invested.
Right.
They've tasted the sweetness of your connection.
Okay.
So they're willing to endure
Yeah.
a little bitterness.
Get back to that sweet.
And they get back to the sweetness. Yeah.
It's like a chef
It is.
carefully balancing flavors.
Yeah.
Right.
To create this unforgettable meal.
Okay. And so Green is saying,
Yeah.
well, this might seem manipulative
Right.
on the surface.
It often reflects
Yeah.
the natural ebb and flow
Okay.
of human emotions.
All right.
We crave connection.
Yeah.
But we also need space.
Right. We want intimacy.
I want intimacy.
But we're also afraid of
Yeah.
being consumed.
Being consumed. Exactly.
Yeah.
So by understanding these
Yeah.
opposing forces,
Right.
we can navigate relationships with more skill and awareness.
So it's about embracing the messiness
It is.
of human emotion.
Yeah.
The highs and lows.
The push and pull.
The push and
The
pull.
light and shadow.
Yeah. It's not about trying to control things.
It's about understanding
Yeah.
and responding
Yeah.
to those natural rhythms
Yeah.
of the heart.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
And Green's goal
Yeah.
is to empower us
Okay.
to become more conscious
Mm.
and skilled players.
In the game of seduction.
In this game, yeah,
Okay.
to understand those forces
Right.
and to make choices
Yeah.
that align with our values and desires.
Oh, this has been so eye-opening.
It has.
We've covered so much.
Yeah.
From that initial spark
Yeah.
to the complexities of the precipice, this mixing of pleasure and pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's given me a whole new perspective
Yeah.
on seduction and its role.
And that's just the beginning.
Okay.
Green's work goes even deeper.
Wow.
He explores the aftermath of seduction,
Okay.
the potential for disenchantment,
Right.
and the strategies for maintaining a lasting connection.
Oh, interesting.
Are you ready to dive into
Yeah.
this final act?
Let's do it. So let's talk about what happens after that initial seduction.
Okay.
You know, that afterglow phase.
Yeah.
What happens then?
Well, Green calls this phase
Yeah.
disenchantment.
Disenchantment.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound too promising.
Well, it's not necessarily about things going bad.
Right.
It's more about
Yeah.
that natural shift
Okay.
when the initial intensity fades.
Okay, so the rose-colored glasses come
The
on.
rose-colored glasses come off.
Yeah.
Exactly. You start to see things
Oh, realistically.
more realistically. Yeah.
So the seducer might start to feel
Less enthralled.
less enthralled.
Yeah.
And the seduced might realize
Yeah.
they got caught up in a fantasy.
They were caught up in a fantasy, right?
Is this disenchantment Inevitable.
Green suggests
Yeah.
that some degree of it
Okay.
is almost inevitable.
So are we doomed to always end up...
Well, especially if the
something.
seduction was built on
Yeah.
manipulation or playing a role
Right.
rather than a genuine connection.
Okay, but is there any way...
He does offer some
Yeah.
strategies
All right.
for navigating this phase.
Okay, I like that.
And even rekindling the spark.
Okay. I'm all ears. What are they?
Well, one key is to maintain a sense of mystery
Okay.
and intrigue.
Even after you've won them over.
Even after you've won them over, yeah.
So it's not about playing games?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Or being distant.
Right.
It's more about keeping things
Okay.
fresh and exciting,
Yeah.
surprising each other,
Right.
continuing to grow.
So you gotta keep dating.
Yeah, keep dating each other.
Even after you're committed.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Green also talks about
Yeah.
the importance of reseduction.
Reseduction.
So finding ways
Yeah.
to reignite that initial spark.
So like romantic gestures, doing new things together.
Yeah, romantic gestures.
Just appreciating each other.
Appreciating each other.
It's like you gotta put in the effort
You have to.
keep the flame burning.
Exactly. Relationships need ongoing nurturing
Attention.
even
Yeah.
the most passionate ones.
And this reseduction can actually make the connection
Yeah.
deeper.
Deeper and more lasting.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Because honestly, Green's work is so insightful,
Mm-hmm.
but it can be a little unsettling.
I understand.
Like learning about all these techniques makes me wonder if everyone's trying to manipulate me.
I get it, but
Yeah.
it's important to remember.
Okay.
Not everyone who uses these
Right.
has bad intentions.
Okay.
Sometimes we use them unconsciously,
Just to connect.
just to connect with others,
Okay.
build
Yeah.
relationships,
So the key is to be aware
to be aware,
and trust your gut.
trust your gut. Yeah.
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 So how can we get better at spotting
Oh,
those master seducers?
self-awareness is key.
Yeah.
The more you understand
Yeah.
your own vulnerabilities,
Right.
the less likely you are to
Okay.
be swayed by someone playing on them.
So pay attention to those emotional triggers.
Exactly.
If someone's always pushing your buttons,
Yeah.
making you uncomfortable,
That's a red flag.
that's a red flag.
Like
right?
knowing your allergies.
Right.
If you're allergic to pollen,
Yeah.
you avoid fields of flowers.
Right. You stay away from the things that trigger you.
Exactly.
Okay. So pay attention to the details too, right?
Yes,
Actions speak louder than words.
they do.
Does their behavior match what they're saying?
Right. Are they consistent?
Do they respect your boundaries?
Those are all important.
So it's not just about what they say, it's
Yeah.
about how they act.
It's about how they make you
How
feel.
they make you feel, yeah.
Do their words match their actions?
Yeah, it's the whole picture,
A whole picture, yeah.
not just the facade.
Exactly.
This deep dive has been amazing.
It has.
It's like Green has given us
Yeah.
X-ray vision
Mm-hmm.
into human motivation.
But now it's up to us
Yeah.
to use that knowledge wisely.
Yeah.
Ethically, yeah.
What's the most important takeaway?
I think the main thing
Yeah.
is that seduction is everywhere.
Yeah, it's not just about romance.
It's about how we influence each other,
In every area of life.
every area of life. So
Right. So if we understand it,
we can be more conscious
yeah,
in our relationships.
make better choices.
Make better choices. Yeah.
It's like he's given us this map
Yeah.
of the human psyche.
A map of the psyche.
With all its hidden pathways.
But we get to choose our destination.
Yeah.
Navigate with integrity.
This has been an incredible journey.
It has.
Any final thoughts?
Green's work can be tough,
Yeah.
even disturbing,
Right?
but it's also empowering.
Okay.
By understanding seduction,
Mm.
we understand ourselves better
And others?
and others.
Yeah.
We see those subtle forces,
Yeah.
and we're more aware
Of the choices we make.
of the choices we make.
Which is what real freedom is all about.
It is.
So well said
Thank you.
to our listener. As you go through the world, keep your eyes open,
Keep your eyes open,
your heart engaged.
your heart engaged,
Your heart engaged.
and your mind sharp.
Remember, everyone's playing this game.
They are?
To some degree.
To some degree, yeah.
But you have a choice.
You always have a choice.
You can play along.
Yeah.
You can step aside.
Step aside.
Or you can rewrite the rules.
Rewrite the rules.
That's what makes life so fascinating.
It is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.